It's an exciting day for us at JNA Real Estate because this is our debut commercial shoot. I'm really excited to show you one of the shop houses with dual frontage in the Jalan Besar area that is not only the coolest asset but also offers great investment potential. Hi guys, this is Jervis from JNA Capital Markets. Welcome to this episode of JNA Unlocked. The heritage of Jalan Besar dates back all the way to 1830s, and you may be wondering, what does Jalan Besar stand for? So in Malay, Jalan Besar apparently stands for Big Road. Because in the past, all around me used to be a swampland. Then the Norris brothers came in and redeveloped the entire place for transport for betel nut as well as fruit. And that was the reason why they had to do an expansion of the roads. I love this area because this is one of the few places in Singapore where you can see evidence of history juxtaposing with modernity. To my left, you can see shop houses that dates back all the way to the 19th century. And to my right, one of the newest built commercial building in the area called Arc 380 that has just been developed 5 years back. Right here in the Jalan Besar area, we have 3 types of shop house classification. First up, we have the primary conserved shop houses. These are the creme de la creme, and these are the art pieces, the Picasso paintings in the museum that you can never touch, right? Number 2, we have the secondary conserved shop houses, perfect for asset revitalization. And last but not least, of course, the non-conserved shop houses. You know, the commercial asset has always been something that is so complex. The market has been something that's so opaque. But in the JNA Capital Markets, we are going to break it down bite-size for you investors so that you can understand this particular asset that we are talking about. So follow me as we head to the investment studio and we'll share with you more about the numbers. All right, let's go. Alright, so welcome to part 2 of our shop house analysis. And the last you saw me was crossing a couple of roads in the sweltering heat and, you know, dancing around Jalan Besar. And I think this is just an example of how, you know, we want to market an asset that is old, traditional, but yet has a lot of potential, right? And, you know, today we have with us Justin from our commercial team, and we're going to share with you specifically, right, this particular listing that we are marketing and how, after much sessions and brainstorming and checking with the relevant authorities, how we can increase a yield to one of the best yields in the market when it comes to commercial asset, which can potentially increase your price if you're the next buyer as well, right? So Justin, take it away.
Yeah, thanks for having me here.
No problem.
Right, so we'll be going through what's the location first, right?
Yeah.
In terms of what are the different kind of shop house zoning they are in this area. Yeah, before we go further. So mainly there are 3 main shop house zoning in Singapore. Mainly we have the full commercial, we have the commercial and resi, as well as we got the residential with first story, with commercial at first story.
Yeah.
So when we can see at this Jalan Besar area, as well as this
a lot of colours.
Yeah, there are many colours, right? Like butterfly.
Yes, like butterfly.
Right. Yeah, we have many colours here. And ours is located at the cross-junction between Lavender Street as well as Jalan Besar and Bendemeer Street.
Yeah, and one thing I love about this particular asset is that it has very good frontage. And there's even a very good advertising space as well that acts as a revenue source for the owners.
Correct.
Right?
So we will touch on that later on. All right. And so our shop house is located on the land plot, which is residential with commercial first story. So there would be ABSD and SSD applied on the residential portion. And you'll be able to convert this residential portion in terms of to different users. But bearing in mind, before we go on to different users, that only Singaporeans can purchase this kind of shop house without any approval. If they are a foreigner and you wish to purchase or invest in a shop house, you require LDA approval for this.
That's right.
So let's take a look at what the users are for this shop house on the residential component. So currently, our shop house is approved as a backpacker hostel. So this kind of license is also rare to come by. In Singapore, we only have about 60 backpacker hostels.
And the government is also not looking to give up more backpacker hostel licenses anymore, right?
Correct. Yeah. So apart from that, you also can use it as a residential component. You can become an office, a student hostel, service apartment, or community. But of course, all these are all subjected to URA approval.
Yeah. So currently, this particular asset, what I really like about it is that on the second floor, it's actually already operating as a backpacker hostel. And our landlord, or rather our owner, has been so nice in giving his friend who's operating the backpacker hostel at a very preferential rate. So in order to increase the rental, right, immediately, right now, right, without doing any alterations, right, actually it can be done quite easily, which is something that makes it very attractive for me as well.
Yes, before we go into that, let's talk about what is the the kind of shop house that we are looking at today, because we have different kind of shop house in the market today, and we have the two different kinds of shop house. Firstly, mainly the primary conservation shop house, which is located in your historical district. And then after that, we have the shop houses in the secondary settlement, which we call it secondary conservation shop houses.
And fun fact, if you're looking for a shop house that's already in the conserved areas, the historical district, the historical districts, right? You're going to see that the prices have already hit way above, right? Something that is $15 to $20 million, right? But specifically in our district, in our secondary conserved area at Jalan Besar, this asset is only going at about $4 million, right? And this is something that is very palatable for first-time investors who are looking for high yield play. Right, specifically. All right, so this is just the two different types of shop houses that we have. Firstly, let's take a look at how the primary conserved shop house look like, right? So primary conserved shop houses, the one thing about it is that you can't build an annex building at the back, right? Number two, you can't tear down and rebuild it. And fun fact, you can actually change the facade a little bit by having some paintings and some things that are approved by URA. Yes. And the interesting thing here is that URA has the whole database of how the shop houses look like. So you cannot, find a way to circumvent that, right? And this asset that we're talking about, right, if you go on to the next slide, it's actually a secondary conserved shop house. And what's so good about this is that you are actually able to increase your GFA by having a rear extension at the back, which our neighbors have already rightfully done so. And it was converted from a commercial resi to now an apartment, and they are already selling parts of their apartments as well.
Yep. So this is actually very good for investors that is looking for yield or to enhance the asset.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah, and I think this is something that's very interesting because right down the road, a project by Oxley, right? I think it's 1953. Yes. 1953 is already looking something like this, right? And this is the future of how such palatable shop houses can be, right? Specifically in the secondary conserved areas. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about how the price growth of shop houses have been in the past 20 years specifically. What I'm seeing here is that since 2004, right, the PSF for such shop houses have been going at about 1,000 per square foot, now all the way up to above 6,000 per square foot at 675% gain. And I think this is talking about the entire shop house market, right? And specifically in the District 1 area, you are even seeing some shop houses transacting at 8,000 per square foot already, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So naturally, the secondary conserved shop house will be slightly on the lower PSF compared to the primary conservation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially when you have a full commercial, right, where the trading activities push up the PSF.
Yes, and specifically when it's a shop house market that is predominantly owned by some foreigners as well. Okay, so this is a very interesting price trend that I see, right? 675%. We're talking about annualized 30+% per annum, right? And it's interesting because it shows us that you don't have to just put all your investments into the residential component. And in shop houses specifically, right, we will talk about the yield later on, how you can maximize the yield because that is actually very instrumental in increasing the asset prices.
Yep. So in terms of PSF for this particular unit, we can see that based on the asking price, right, our PSF is close to about 2,000.
Yes.
So
which is very fair.
Yeah. If you look at freehold residential pricing today, it's actually quite in tandem with what is the freehold RCR pricing is today. Yeah, but you're getting something that is of a shop house use that you can be able to convert or do a change of use to be something else rather than a residential property itself.
Yes. So one interesting thing that's happening, right, as I'm driving around, whether it is CBD or places where there's a lot of shop houses, right, is that whenever I see that there's an advertising space there, right, this is only something that's exclusive to corner plots, right? And this is something that actually adds on to the revenue on top of the rental that the owners are actually getting. And fun fact, this particular asset that we're talking about at Lavender, it actually is enjoying about 2,000 to 2,005, right, in terms of rental every single month. And that's on top of the 5 figures rental that you can even enjoy. Yeah.
So that's on top of the rental that you're already renting out, you still get the advertising revenue.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because this is a corner shop house, so it enjoys dual frontage.
Yeah, and fun fact, as I'm driving to church every single morning on Sunday, I always see that particular shop house, and then now we actually finally get to meet the amazing owner. Yeah, and then now we are selling the shop house as well, right? So this shows how much the advertisement is actually capturing my attention. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about when it comes to it being a hostel, right? Or something it being a backpacker hostel. Why is there just so much potential for this, right? And I think that there are just some plans that we can pull out right now.
Exactly. Yes. So there's this URA circular that shows location where no new hotels will be added in this area lah.
Yeah.
So it can be shown in this red color area here.
Yeah.
This area is where no new hotels will be or backpacker hostel will be issued lah.
And fun fact, right? This particular area, this zone, right, actually has a lot of shop houses that's inside, right?
Correct.
And good news here is, if you go on to the next slide, you will realize that our particular shop house is right at the fringe.
That's right.
And this is when I see that there is going to be strong demand as well, right? If it's converted to a backpacker hostel. We work very closely with the Far East leasing team, and when we talk to them about, how their backpacker hostel or their service apartments are doing, fun fact, a lot of them have almost close to full occupancy. I'm talking about 90% occupancy. Right? Of course, with the current rising rental rates that's happening, right? Such alternative accommodation is something that people consider in the short-term interim.
Correct, especially where tourism is coming back on board, right? So that backpacker hostel do have a certain market in there.
So we have attached a photo over here just so that you can see an example, an illustration of how a backpacker hostel can look like, right? Traditionally when we look at backpacker hostel or we think about backpacker hostel, right? I've been to some. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing, but I'm quite certain that such backpacker hostel like this will look really good and it can drive up rates as well. All right, so we have put up some statistics and some facts and figures from the Hotel Licensing Board for us to understand a little bit more about the occupancy rate that such hotels and hostels are actually enjoying, right? And in the past few months, because of the tourism boom, right, that not only happened in Singapore but globally, right? You're going to see an 80% occupancy rate, and it's important for us to take into account the occupancy rate in our calculations, because if we don't do that, we're going to be overzealous in our estimation of yield, right? Especially specifically whether is it in co-living or whether is it in a backpacker hostel or even service apartments, right?
That's right.
And one fun thing, right, that you can take a look at this is this. Our calculations later on moving forward that we have tabulated with the commercial team will account for 70% occupancy rates so that we have a little bit more prudence, okay? So this is the first calculation that we have tabulated together for you, because we wanted to show you a little bit more about how we could increase the potential yield. So now, if you are an investor who's looking to self-operate, right, the backpacker hostel yourself, right, this is something that is of great prudence, okay? Let's talk a little bit more about the size, right? This shop house is of a size of 1565 square feet. We did no changes. There's 30 beds right now. There's going to be 30 beds that are going to take over with the average market rate of $600 per month per bed, right? And that gives us a rental assumption of $18,000, right? There's an occupancy rate of 70%, not 80%, and that gives us a rental income of $12,600, right? And assuming an advertising income every single month at $2,000, your total rental will be about $14,600 per month, which gives you a rental yield of 4.38%. This honestly is one of the most the quick option if you just want to buy something for yield, right? And don't do too much about it, right? And 4.38% looks actually very enticing. What do you think?
Yeah, it's actually quite enticing in this market, especially for freehold. You only get about 1.9% to about 2.1%.
Yeah.
So this is definitely where the upside potential, where you get to actually just renovate the place a bit, and you'll be able to increase the rental yield that you'll be able to achieve.
Absolutely. And in the commercial market, right, when you increase your rental yield, the best thing that happens is that your asset prices also increase.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the reason why when we talk to all the seasoned players, this is actually a strategy that, I think most watching this will be either millennials, first-time buyers, right? Gen Z, maybe not yet, but maybe Gen Z's family and parents, right? This is what we try to bring you, right? This kind of information, this kind of good deals in the market that you can consider. All right, so let's bring you another alternative whereby, our architects have come together with us to brainstorm another way for someone who is an investor or a very busy business owner who doesn't want to operate a backpacker hostel, which may take some work, right? And to be able to convert it into a service apartment, right? So this is actually a plan that we and our architects have come out. So Justin, why not bring us through this plan?
Yeah, so we work with the different architects to actually come up with service apartment kind of idea because of the rise of co-living out there. There is quite a popular choice, especially for investors that want to just increase the rental that they can be able to collect. So what our architect has come up with is actually two one-bedder studio as well as a 2-bedroom apartment, right, for service apartment. So the difference between service apartment and co-living is that service apartment, each apartment can house about 6 different people, whereas an individual residential unit, you can only hold 6 different people.
Yeah, in the entire unit, right? So now we're talking about if we have 4 units and 4 rooms in total, we can host actually 24 people, right? And that's actually really good, yeah.
Yep. So let's take a look at each of the unit size. So right here, the architect has done about 2 single studio, right? And so the yellow one, this is a 2-bedroom apartment, and the blue one is a single bedroom apartment.
I must say that this has been a really good job done, because this actually is a very livable space, right? Considering the co-living options that we have seen as well in the market. Yeah.
As well as the proximity of this property, right? Is city fringe, and it's 5 minutes to Bendemeer MRT station, so there's a lot of convenience.
And you have the whole row of shop houses of famous food that you can actually enjoy too. Yeah.
So I think this will be quite highly sought after.
100%.
Right, in terms of like expat or looking for apartment.
Yes. Of course, when we're in our investment studio, right, we have to talk about the numbers once again. And as you know, in JNA Real Estate, right, whether it's a commercial team, investment team, residential team, our sales force, we are very specific when it comes to numbers. Okay, so no point talking about the plans if the numbers don't improve. Let's talk a little bit more about this asset if it operates specifically as a service apartment, right? The size-wise is 1,565 square feet. We have assumed a corridor space about 202 square feet with a balance space of 1,364 square feet, right? And assuming that our one bedroom, a unit is about 35 square meters, with our two bedroom at 57 square meters, we're going to have 2 one bedrooms and 1 2 bedroom. And that 2 bedroom with the current long-term rental, when it comes to co-living, is going to be about $3,000 per month, which is actually very conservative. We multiply it by 2, we get $6,000 for the 235 square meters apartment, and also $5,000 for the 57 square meter apartment. You may be wondering now, why is there no occupancy rate that's being multiplied into the equation? Okay, the reason behind that is because for this particular service apartment, we actually assume a long-term rental at a very palatable rate that I can tell you honestly, people will straight away want to rent at $2,000 and $3,000 and one at $5,000 for a 2 bedroom. You can't get this kind of market rates in city fringe, let alone somewhere with heritage and plenty of food options just a stone's throw away. And if you're looking for a short-term rental, of course, we believe that the occupancy rate will be compensated by the increase in rental that we will demand, right? So it's very flexible. We can discuss with the future buyer, if you are one, on how we can actually adjust this, right? So it gives us a rental income of $11,000 with an advertising income of $2,000. That goes on to $13,000. And this gives us a slight dip in yield at 3.9%. But of course, it gives you a great convenience, because once you have done it up into like a service apartment, you don't have to do much, right? You just have to collect your rental income every single month. Yes. So this is actually kind of the end of the asset and the analysis of the numbers. There's a lot of information that we can provide you, but of course not on air, right? Not live, because we want you to come to us so that we can share with you all these plans in detail, right? Any closing thoughts about this particular asset, Justin?
For something for this kind of rental returns for freehold shop house is definitely quite hard to come by. Currently, the market is only about 1.9 to about 2.1% for freehold.
It's low. It appears low, right? But this is the norm,
Yeah.
I've seen some at 0.8%.
Yeah. So if you are looking for high yield, then maybe leasehold shop houses will be something that you can look at if you're looking for high returns.
Absolutely.
But of course, for freehold, usually the yield is about 2.1.
Absolutely.
So this is definitely something you can look into if you're looking for asset revitalization to be able to get a better yield of 3.9 to about 4%.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm not too sure about what the narrative of commercial shop houses is in the market nowadays. And there are plenty of supply that's coming in, right? Of course, prices are not as sensitive, even though supply is increasing. NTUC just released $275 million worth of shop houses selling, right? And you are going to see, right, so many different places of Singapore with shop houses that are selling as well. But in our community, one thing that we believe for a fact is this: when you want to buy a commercial shop house, you definitely want to make sure that you can buy something with capital appreciation potential as well. The current yield is a safeguard for you, just in case interest rates gets higher, you can still enjoy a little bit more of the positive carry. And that's why I'm going to say this, in our opinion, this is something that the commercial team is very aligned. In our opinion, right, in JNA Real Estate is this, right? If you cannot find an asset where you can do asset revitalization, which is something that Justin mentioned, then we will not even consider asset, because anything out of that is speculation. Okay, so give you a summary about why this asset is so amazing. Number one, you're talking about owning a corner plot freehold shop house that is right outside a zone where backpacker hostels are not allowed. You're at the fringe, okay? What more lucky can you get? You're at the fringe, that's one. Number two, you get to enjoy by increasing your yield to about 4.8% to even 4.38% to even 3.9%, which also gives you that buffer to increase price when you're selling in the secondary market. And last point is this: this is a secondary conserve shop house, not a primary conserve shop house, where you are able to have the potential to increase the back of the shop house into an annex building. And if you're a developer looking to build build something like this, we can always discuss a private equity deal to be able to get some of the shophouse along the stretch that may even be selling as well. All right. Thank you so much for staying till the end of this video. And this is one of the few commercial videos that we have done with the capital markets team, because not all commercial assets can be short, but this particular asset is something that we want to bring to the public because the yield is attractive. We already have viewers that are lined up. If you're one of the few buyers, right, whether you're a first-time buyer, a seasoned player, you want to come down and take a look at the plans, take a look at the viability of, this product. We have many in-depth plans that's ready for you, right? And we just hope to see you, okay? So thank you so much for staying till the end. This is Jervis.
This is Justin.
This episode is brought to you by the JNA Capital Markets team, specifically the commercial team. We'll see you for the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.